What up, y'all? This is Patrick Hayes, and in this video, I want to talk about what to beware of when you are choosing your friendships. So, whether this is a friendship, whether this is a love relationship, I'm gonna talk about 3 different levels of friendship or relationship. And then I'm gonna share some really keen insights so that by the end of this video, if you stick around, it's gonna be very clear to you. You're gonna feel very confident about how to enter into and how to select relationships that will be beneficial for all parties. So win-win relationships. Okay, so first off, level 1. The first kind of relationship I want to talk about is a relationship that everybody's experienced and everybody's seen in the world. This is something that causes a lot of issues for people. These relationships never work out. But these are the kinds of relationships or friendships where one or both of the people in the relationship are in the relationship purely for what they're going to get out of it. So it's like, what will you do for me? And this is common because naturally human beings have an instinct to, say, improve their life however they can for themselves. And so usually when people are looking around for what to do in life, they're looking for things that will improve their life. And quite naturally then they look to partners to improve their life. Not that a partner shouldn't be seen as someone that would improve your life, but it's not the best when somebody's entering into a relationship purely for what they're going to get out of it, for what it's going to be for me, say. Now, like I said, while it's natural that when we enter into any sort of situation in life, even if it's an amazing situation, everything's great at first, after a certain period of time, we start identifying, okay, well, this is the part of it that maybe I don't like as much, and this is the part of it that I do like and want more of. And it would be nice if this changed to be more in my preference, and then things were even better. So constantly, people are always looking to improve their life, to improve their reality. Now, the issue comes into play when people treat relationships from that same kind of self-centered point of view, where I've entered into a relationship and this person is basically here to make my life better. So in the beginning, maybe it's great. You're attracted to them for all these different reasons. And it's like, wow, this is an amazing person. They're gonna make my life so great. I'm so attracted to this person. I wanna be with this person. And you're with them, but you're with them for a while. And then you come to realize that, you know what, I really like these things about this person, but I don't like these things about this person. And this can be for friendships too. I'll explain it more in a relationship context because the issues that I'm talking about and the key points that I'm trying to make are really amplified in love relationships. But this really does apply to all different kinds of relationships. So you enter into the relationship, everything's great, but then you start realizing, well, you know, kind of these things aren't the best and these things are better and I want more of these things, and maybe it would be great if these other things change. Now, the issue with approaching something like that from a selfish point of view is that you're treating your relationship like an object to satisfy you. What can this relationship give to me? What can it do for me? It was funny, actually. There's a Joe Rogan comedy stand-up that I watched not too long ago where he was talking about his manhood being this mountain of marbles. It's like this giant mountain of marbles. And his family steals 2 marbles from him every single day. And since it's just 2 marbles, it's like, it's not a big deal, so I can't like have a fit over it. I can't cause a big problem. It's just 2 marbles. But every single day, 2 marbles are being stolen, and his pile of manhood is, you know, dwindling, right? It's falling away. And this is kind of the scenario that people can get caught in if they're either in a relationship where they're trying to make the other person conform to what they want so that they are transforming this other person into, you know, their own kind of desire puppet, or conversely, if there's somebody that's too agreeable and the other person is constantly getting them to compromise more and more and more on what their true desires and true wishes are in order to not deal with the drama that they'll receive by not conforming. And you see this situation all the time with really tyrannical boyfriends or girlfriends, or tyrannical friends. You see this also. But where one person basically dominates the situation. In the beginning, there might have been like a strong mutual attraction and people, they were into each other. But then over time, one person starts dominating and forcing the other person to conform more and more and more, to the point where that person's self-expression becomes so compromised that they kind of lose themselves. They become, like I said, a puppet of the other person's tyranny. And then the other person loses respect for that person because they don't have a spine and they're just doing whatever that person wants them to. And then they become spoiled and start, you know, and it can get really ugly where the person's like bossing the other person around, telling them what to do, and they lose all respect for them, and then they lose attraction for that person if it's a love relationship. And then it results in this situation where the only thing that that person can get out of the other person is like making them do what they want them to do, but they don't actually respect the person or love them. There's not attraction, and the relationship's kind of falling apart, and it's turning into like a king-servant kind of relationship. And so it's really important if you're entering into a relationship with anybody, whether it's a love relationship or friendship, that the person has the capacity and the desire to want what is best for you. Right? Both parties in a relationship need to want what's best for the other person. They need to want the other person to express themselves, to be themselves, and to want to try to help them become more of themselves so that they can actually rise up and thrive in their own life and not just be an accessory to their life. A level 2 relationship is where people do genuinely want the best for the other person. It's not about just me. It's not about you just doing whatever I want you to do to make my life better. It's about, okay, well, I want you to be your best self. I want you to be a good person. But see, where the sticking point comes in here is that oftentimes what we decide is what's best for them is not actually what they decide is best for them. In other words, we want them to be the best them in our own terms, right? What we think that they would like or what we think would be best for them, as opposed to what they in their own terms would say is best for them. And this is really important because you see this all the time with relationships where one person thinks they know what's best for the other person. They genuinely want to help that person, but they might be causing more trouble or causing more problems than they're actually solving because they're being too presumptuous with either what they think the other person wants or what they think would be best for the other person. Now, level 3 is where the individuals in the relationship both want what's best for each other, and they have an agreement about what's best for each other in their own terms. Now, of course, when I say best for each other, I just have to clarify. When I'm saying best for each other or best for the other person, that I'm also considering what's best for yourself too, right? So it's both sides. You have to honor both sides. It's not just that when you start leveling up in relationships that you just do what's best for the other person. It's like you have to respect your own boundaries and your own needs also. But this is the point, is that both sides of the relationship genuinely want what's best for the other person in their own terms. So it's like letting the other person fly free, letting them be the best person they can possibly be in their own terms. And this needs to be a clear understanding between the two people in the relationship, or however many people are in the relationship. What is it in your own terms that you would like to be? How can I support you to be the greatest version of yourself, right? What boundaries do you have? What needs do you have? How can I support them? And are your boundaries and needs something that I can respect and give to you, right? Is that something that the way that our relationship intersects based off of what my boundaries and my needs are, and your boundaries and your needs are, can they intersect in a way that's mutually beneficial for both of us? And in order for us to come to an agreement and stabilize that kind of synergy in a relationship, we have to both clearly understand what we in each other's terms deem the greatest expression of ourselves. So in other words, what is it that we need in our own terms in order for us to be the greatest version of ourselves? What do we want to be? What are our values in our own terms? We need to be able to clearly state from each other's perspective what each other's values are in their own terms until there's a mutual agreement that brings us together so that we can actually help each other be our best selves. See, if we have a breakdown in communication there, if we don't actually understand what the other person really truly wants to be and how to support them in being their best self, or we think that they should be something other than that and we're trying to kind of get them to match our values as opposed to respecting their own values, then there's always going to be drama. And this is a really hard thing to actually stabilize, because the truth of the matter is every single person is still learning what exactly they are or how exactly to be more of themselves, right? This is a lifelong journey, how to fine tune and optimize and become more and more of yourself, right? So every time we hit a pocket of unknown territory, there needs to be a reevaluation of what our values are and who we want to be and how we're going to step forward in life. And this needs to be a discussion that is had in the relationship. There needs to be an open space for this discussion so that we can continue to show up in the relationship to support each other to be the best people that we can possibly be. And so then some of the requirements for being able to stabilize a relationship like this is having clear communication skills. I made a video recently about communication. I'll put a link to that right here. and you can check that out. This will help you in that process. But clear communication skills, so you can be on the same page about what's going on and on the same page about what your values are. There needs to be a clear understanding about what your individual values are for who you are as a person, but then also what your relationship values are, so you can agree on a way of being able to communicate and come together and stabilize a method for interacting and working through problems and communicating with each other. You also need to be really aware of what your individual boundaries are and what your individual needs are. And these need to be spoken of. And like I said, these things are always changing, so there needs to be a space and a kind of method for how to interact, for how to exchange this information when it does come up, and realize that as much as you want to set a system for your relationship, probably the most important system to set up is a system for how to explore, as opposed to a fixed system that's going to be fixed forever. Because there's always going to be things that are coming up. So there needs to be a system for how to interact, for how to communicate, and how to explore, so that you can express your new boundaries as they come up. You can express your new needs as they come up. You can express your new values as they come up. And that both of you have clear communication going back and forth, so you can understand each other's boundaries, needs, and values. And that you can meet in a meeting point that is mutually beneficial to support both of you individually, and that also helps you bloom as a relationship. So what to be aware of when you're entering into a relationship is whether both you and the other person has the capacity to enter into a kind of relationship that is mutually beneficial for both of you. And in order to do that, you need to be able to identify within yourself and the other person the genuine openness and the genuine capacity to communicate clearly enough and come to an agreement and come to a clear understanding of what the values are of each other and what the other person truly wants to express themselves as in the world, so that you can fully support that. And then ask yourself, with my boundaries, with my needs, am I capable of supporting that for them, and are they capable of supporting that for me? And if so, then the relationship, the friendship, whatever it is, has the potential to be something amazing and powerful for both of you. And if it doesn't, then you might want to reconsider entering in deeply to that kind of relationship. So I hope this is helpful and powerful for you. If it was, please share it with somebody else that you feel like it may be powerful for also. If you're interested in me getting deeper into this topic from different angles, mention something in the comments and I can do another video on that. And if you haven't already subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I'm super stoked to continue offering new content for you on a regular basis. So thanks so much for tuning in. This is Patrick Hayes, and I will talk to you next time. One love.